Parallel parking, three-point turns and reversing around a corner can be a challenge for even the most experienced driver. Many young people, though, struggle with more than just manoeuvres when they take to the road.
A new report from the Co-op claims driving lessons are failing to prepare new drivers for the reality of motoring. 40% of those surveyed said that they'd had an accident that could have been avoided if they'd spent more time as a learner. So we asked some of you about your early driving experiences.
The initial mental obstacle that you're doing it on your own, without anyone in the car telling you how to do it. But once you've passed that, then yeah, you do feel really confident. I think it's a confidence thing.
Definitely parallel parking. Always difficult. I'm still a bit shaky on it, to be honest, especially driving in a state.
Putting into practice everything that I kind of learned prior to actually taking the test. I think it was pretty difficult, in all honesty, trying to put that into practice.
I did advanced driving and I don't think it particularly helped. I learnt more from having my dad in the car and him taking me out.
Well, Tim Shallcross is director of the Institute of Advanced Motorists, and Melissa Potts, who passed her test just under a year ago, joins us now. Very good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Tim, let me just put that point to you. That last woman said that she'd done some advanced driving, but that she felt that she got more from driving with her dad. So what is the advice and experience that young people need?
It's a very, very good point. What they need above all is experience before they go out on the road on their own. And one of the tragedies we have is that if I want to take my son or my daughter out for a drive while they're learning, you know, I need to pay attention to what the driving instructor's trying to teach them instead of teaching them my bad habits. But the insurance companies start to whop the premium up in most cases. Now that, you know, learner drivers don't crash. You don't have a crash with your mum or your dad sitting next to you. You might do after you've passed your test, but learner drivers are a very low risk, and insurance companies need to recognise this and encourage young drivers to get more experience with mum and dad rather than providing this disincentive of a huge hike in the insurance premium.
Melissa, you took 10 lessons, 3 tests, passed third time. Did you feel, and that's you're quite quick about that. Did you feel that you were ready for the road when you passed?
No, not at all. I wasn't ready to take my test. I think I should have done more lessons first, got more experience. I'd be able to drive around with my mum or dad, get more experience on the road rather than just driving with your driving instructor.
So what was it like? How did you feel when you first started going out on your own?
Very nervous. Like it's scary being on your own than being with somebody else in the car all the time.
What stopped you taking more lessons?
Expensive. It's too expensive to keep taking loads of lessons.
Well, I learnt to drive more than 20 years ago now. How much is it to take a lesson now?
It's £20 a lesson for an hour.
So that really adds up, doesn't it, if you want to take more lessons? And we know there's a number of young drivers crash within the first year. Have you had an accident?
Yeah. Not a bad one, but I've had 2. The first one was my fault. It wasn't into anybody else, it was into a wall. But the second time, it was somebody else wasn't looking, like coming round the bend at the same time as me and took my wing mirror off.
So you've had 2 accidents in the year that you've been driving,
And Tim, a lot of other young drivers will be in the same sort of situation.
Sadly so. 10% of drivers roughly are below the age of 25. They're involved in 1 in 4 crashes. So it's a very bad statistic.
So in your view, the best thing to do about that is what?
Well, we need to extend the period over which people learn to drive. It mustn't be just a few lessons that do nothing more than teach you how to drive a fairly irrelevant test in today's roads. It needs to be a planned programme of gaining experience, not all necessarily paid for, a competent friend who's been driving for some time, mum or dad. You know, this kind of process works in other countries where you gain experience. It can be logged either in a logbook or online. It works very well, builds up the experience of rural roads, of nighttime driving, of driving on high-speed roads, and maybe a graduated licence. So you take a basic test of competence as, yes, I can use the gears, I can use the brakes. Now I can go out and build my experience before I graduate to the next stage towards getting my full licence.
Melissa, one of the things that new drivers can feel nervous about is going on the motorway. How were you the first time?
Well, my driving instructor said that I could have a lesson after I passed my test to go on the motorway, but it was fully booked up before I got my car by then, so I just went on by myself.
And how did that feel?
It was very, like, it was scary at first. I'm used to it now, but it takes a lot of getting used to.
Well, it's a very different thing going on the motorway, isn't it? All
Yeah.
of a sudden.
Tim, should that be part of the driving test?
We believe so, yes. Again, you know, a graduated test. So first of all, I can basically competently handle the controls. Now I can move on to the next stage where I do some motorway driving or do some rural driving, and I get something that says, yes, I'm now proficient at that. And I've got, you know, I progress on this voyage towards my full licence, which might take a couple of years. But, you know, all the evidence says 120 hours of driving experience dramatically reduces the chances of somebody being a casualty in that first year.
So
let's help people build that experience in the right way.
A year on, do you feel confident now, Melissa?
Yeah, I feel more confident now, yeah.
It's all about getting the miles under your belt, isn't it?
Yeah, because as soon as you pass your test, you can't drive still. You still need to take more hours, do it yourself, and then you'll be able to do it.
Okay.
More confident.
All right.
Well, thanks for coming in to talk to us, Melissa and Tim.
Right.
Thanks.
And good luck. Coming up to 7:45, this is Breakfast. These are the main stories this morning.